Good afternoon. You're listening to the Indie Author Show. My name is Sue Miller, and I'm here today with my guest, Irene Remelie. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, you're welcome. I did have you here on the show, but it was a shared show, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was back in June, I think it was.
That was when you launched the poetry book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was Indie Author Week, and so I think we had 3 or 4 people in the studio that day. So today, I have you all to myself.
Yay!
So the Indie Author Show is fortnightly on Kellen FM, and we talk to authors, and we just learn a little bit about their book and their journey. And I'm sure Irene has lots to share with us today. Irene, welcome again to the show, and I'm looking forward to just hearing all about your story. You've got so much. I'm sure that we can't cover it all in an hour.
No, not with the rate I talk, because I do like to talk a lot as well.
I see you're wearing yellow today, which
Yes.
it matches your book cover. It's a bit of a brand thing going on, right?
Most definitely. And one of the things I've really noticed is that people now associate that with me. I even got a message of someone the other day telling me what yellow means and the reasons behind it. And it resonates so much with what I believe in and what my book is all about. But for me, yellow is the colour of joy, happiness. It's uplifting, it's inspiring. To the point where now a lot of people will either call me Mrs. Sunshine.
Which I do.
You do. You even suggested Mrs. Funshine.
Yeah.
I like that one. But people associate the colour with me now. So when they see my book or when they see me, more often than not, I do wear yellow because it resonates with people. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure you're already aware that colours also give off an energetic vibration as well. Mm-hmm. So yellow's a fantastic colour for everybody. It's very uplifting.
Yeah. So your book tell us what your book's called.
So my book is called Time to Wake Up, Your Life is Calling. And
it's got a beautiful sunrise on it.
It's got a beautiful sunrise on it, and it's also got a clock on it. And the reason for that is because it is time to wake up for people on a massive level, worldwide. Because what happened to me and the inspiration that drove me to write this book was going back round about 15 years ago. I had a car crash where I nearly lost my life. So for me...
How many years ago?
It was around about 15, I
15,
think.
wow.
I forget, because I don't ever realise I'm aging, really. I'm still kind of at the age of about 19, mentally, physically. When I look in the mirror, that's very different. So I guess it was around about 15 years ago. And that was at a time when I'd reached probably one of the lowest levels in my life, and I didn't really want to be on this planet anymore. And then I had an accident that put me in a position where I did nearly lose my life, and for a year I couldn't walk because I broke both my knees, I broke all my ribs, and I couldn't really do much, and I was homebound for that amount of time. Throughout that time I had a wide variety of very peculiar and strange experiences that happened to me, which I believe is because what I did was I read so many books. At that point in my life I was literally reading about 4 books a week, and I was basically unknowingly reprogramming my mind. So at the time I didn't realise I was doing it, but what I was doing was breaking down old thought patterns and really opening my eyes to what life was really all about. And then after that some massive changes happened, which then obviously led me to write this book.
So that was 15 years ago.
Yes.
And you wrote the book. Well, you published the book
in May this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you saying it took you 14 years to write the book, or did it...
Well, the book actually...
Did you always know
Yes.
you were going to do this
Yes.
book, and then it just kind of...
The right
kind of
time
had
came.
bits to it, but yeah.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, the book is very different to other books out there. It is a self-help book, and it does go on about understanding who we are, why we're here, where we come from, and how we can create a fantastic life. So I would say off the back of that accident, I then put everything that's in my book into actual action.
Right.
So I got told, that I was going to write a book. And I knew that was going to be the case. And throughout those 15 years, I can tell you probably had about 16 books like notebooks and different
Right.
things that said start of the book and different chapters, and I just hadn't pulled any of it together. But what I was doing was living my own advice, really, what I gained from that experience, and now what's come to be in the book. The purpose for this book was to keep it really short and simple, so that anybody, no matter who they were, could pick up the book and get the real basics of how to turn their life around and change it, should they apply it, and should they really get to understand what it's all about. So for the past 15 years, my life has been living the knowledge that I gained from after I had that accident.
Yeah, and I think it just says to people that there's always the right time. You know, I know lots of authors that have been writing a novel, and they've been writing the novel for 15 years.
Yes.
And there's a reason why probably 2018 was the year that you published this book.
Yes.
You know, and so I just want to encourage anybody that's listening that says, oh, you know, I've started this book and I did it 10 years ago and I still haven't published it and it's rubbish and blah, 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 because all these thoughts go through people's
Definitely.
heads, that, you know, you just have to give yourself a break, and just when the time is right, it will come out, yeah?
100%. And I believe that I had to go through those experiences. We're all learning and growing constantly. And I do believe there is a right time for people to write their books, whether it be, you know, for some people I've known, they might have thought about writing a book 30 years ago, and it's took them that long, and it's been in their head, and they've just not got it down. And I think for me, I overcomplicated that process of thinking that I had to be a whiz kid, and then in stepped you, who, you know, helped me with that. So I think sometimes people have got it all in their head, and then they beat themselves up because they haven't got it into a book format, when really they just need to take the next step.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to write your book.
No. So, okay, well, we'll go to another track, and then we'll come back and we'll just talk a little bit more about what the chapters are, and kind of what are these lessons that you want people to take from it.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Brilliant.
Time to Wake Up is the name of Irene's book. And Irene, just tell us a little bit, well, the subtitle is Your Life is Calling. So what do you mean by that?
Okay, so as I just said before, the book came about because I'd had a near-death experience. And whilst having that experience, it opened my eyes to really why we're here, what our purpose is here, and to understanding how we work as human beings. So when I say time to wake up, it's basically meaning it's time to wake up and realise what you are capable of and what you can create in your life, even from rock bottom. Because what I found from my previous work is that a lot of people on a daily basis aren't enjoying life, they're living on automation, so they're not really making the most of each day. And that's okay when they realise there is more to life than what they're currently experiencing. So the purpose of this was to help people that were not necessarily just at rock bottom, but people that are frustrated in life, keep going around in the same circles, understanding why they keep getting themselves in the same job or the same relationships, or just living quite a dysfunctional, repetitive cycle in life. This book really is to help people get out of that.
Get out of the cycle, yeah.
Get out of the rut and really understand how incredible life can be. Because for me, I was at rock bottom before I had that accident. I didn't want to be on this planet. I was in a really bad marriage. I was working non-stop hours and not having any sleep. I was just maxed out. You know, I was absolutely, I don't know what the word would be, wired, really. And I got to a point where I was just thinking, is this it, really? Have I just got to keep working really hard? Have I got to keep pushing myself? Have I got to keep... And it was that frustration that got me to the point of going, there's got to be more to life than this. I'm in a rat race. I'm in a hamster wheel. What am I doing to myself? How do I get out of it? And that was when the accident came about. And that was when I understood how to get out of it and what I could do to change my situation that was in. So the purpose of writing this book was to help other people do the same. It didn't mean they have to be at rock bottom, but most people are facing challenges one way or another, and how we deal with them and perceive them will really define what the end result will be.
Okay, so let's just take it from the beginning chapter. So what are you talking about in at the beginning of the, you know, what journey are we starting on?
So at the beginning of it, really, I do talk about my life and my background and how I've overcome different challenges
Right.
and how really I never came from any financial background. It was really through hard work and constant grafting and having very difficult personal challenges and relationships as I was growing up. But then it goes into the next part, then basically goes into where the world is now. And what I'm talking about in that is that we get born into this world and we get put into a system. And that system is that we go through school and we're educated to get a job and work hard, get a mortgage and pay the bills.
Yeah.
And most people end up being extremely drained and stressed out, and then they're really just existing as opposed to living.
Okay.
So I talk about where the world is now and how we've got to where we've got because of the programming really that we've been brought into whether that be through schooling or through our family and friends that surround us or through media, the TV or whatever it might be. We are made up of all those experiences that we're brought into and we're experiencing as we're growing up. And then often when we become an adult, we believe that's who we are. We don't really see anything else other than what we've been used to and what we know. So I talk about where the world is now and what's going on around us and how the majority of it seems quite doom and gloom, really. When you look at it, you know, they're predicting another economic crisis and people are struggling. And as a result of that, more people are emotionally challenging. In fact, now in the UK, they've got 1 in 8 people on antidepressants. In Scotland, it's 1 in 6, with a predicted half of the other people considering potentially going on them because they're just so confused and they're part of the rat race and they just don't know where to go or what to do. So I talk about that and how we are in this world, but also then how we can overcome it. So the first part is where the world is now, and then the next bit is who am I and who are you? You know, we're not our past. We can change at any given moment. So the next step in the process is understanding really why we're here, what it's all about, where do we want to go from now? Because we're not our past, even though we feel it, because that's most of the programming that's gone into us. So then we talk about what we can do to change that. So it's who am I, who are you?
Well, you know, I was just thinking, do you know how often now, if any of our listeners feel this way, but you just think, oh my gosh, it's the end of October.
Yeah.
Where did this year go?
Yes.
And I think that is happening more and more and more. Like, I don't remember my parents saying that kind of thing. Oh, the year's gone by so fast.
Speeding up.
It's because we are on this hamster wheel. We're running and we can't get off.
Yep.
And even though we take a holiday, we're just so exhausted when we go on the holiday that we can't even think.
You need another holiday when you come back off holiday.
Yeah, because I'm going away for half term. It's half term for my children next week. So I am so busy trying to get ready so I can go on holiday, and then I know as soon as I come back from holiday, I'm going to be so busy catching up from what
It's all go. It's non-stop.
And I just keep thinking why are we in this position? Why, and I'm conscious of it. I know it's happening to me.
Yes.
And I want it to stop, but I'm not quite sure what to do. So this
is a massive challenge, you see, because what happens is we are born into this world and we have a mind which is a tool. Now, the mind is a tool that we should use, but because of all the programming that we have, more often than not, the mind then tends to use us. So the majority of our time is either spent focusing on the past or the future. So we're constantly living in what's gone on, what's happened, oh my gosh, how are we going to deal with it, can't cope, or how am I going to cope in the future, can I do this? Very rarely are many people living in the present moment because they're so worried about what's gone on or what could go on that they forget.
Right.
So therefore they're living on automation, they're just existing. What most people are missing out on is getting into the present moment because that shifts everything. It breaks away from our programming. Our mind is very similar to a computer, our brain is. So everything that's stored in there is like a computer, it's like a database. More often than not, we're just running on that like a computer. And that explains why you can get in the car and drive home, and you'll get home with your subconscious mind taking you home, but your conscious mind is probably going, oh my gosh, what am I going to cook for tea tonight? Oh my gosh, I've got all these things to do. So you're living on automation because you're not even in the present moment. So people are getting stressed out because they're focusing on the past and the future rather than becoming into the present moment.
Okay, yeah.
And when you get in the present moment, that's when everything changes.
Okay, so in your book, do we get to that? Do we
Yes.
talk about...
Yes, we talk
Okay.
about how to do that and why it's important to do that, because it is quite deep, and like I say, I can't really get it all across in one show. But a lot of the learning that I did when I had my accident, I was reading books, whether it be the Bible or a brief history in time, or was quantum physics.
Yeah, I was going to say quantum physics is
massive. Absolutely huge, and that as much as some of the things I do talk about, people will think is pretty woo-woo, but actually, if you were to sit down and study into quantum physics and the fact that we're all made up of energy, every single thing on this planet, including the table, the chair, the car, me, you, is all made up of energy. That's a scientific fact. We're just vibrating at different frequencies. Mm-hmm. So most of the time, if you're thinking about something that's gone on negative in the past, that's quite a low vibration, and that means you're going to have more of that happen around you. So with the constant negativity going on in our head, what we're actually doing is creating more of it, because it doesn't have any preference. Energy is the law of attraction. Most people have heard of that. What we feel and what we think about, we bring more of it about. So the biggest battle that people have is breaking the cycle of getting out of that. That's the challenge. And the only way that you can do that is by becoming more present in the moment, which again is another challenge, because people are going, I haven't got time to be present in the moment because I've got to think about how I'm going to deal with this and how I'm going to deal with that.
Yeah.
But that's the real key. And once people get present in the moment, that's when the great success comes for people, whether it be financially, relationships, feeling better about yourself. So although a lot of people say, I don't have time to sit here and be present and appreciate the fact that, I've got legs, or I've got arms, or I can talk, or I can read or write a book, or I can drink some water. Those are very simple things, but actually when you get present with those, then you start realizing the magic around you, because you're being aware of it as opposed to not being present. Because most of the time, even when you sat talking to somebody, you sat there thinking, oh, what am I going to make for tea tonight? And oh my gosh, how am I going to pay that bill? And I'll have to do this. You're not even there. You're stuck in your mind.
Well, sometimes you get in the car. I know I've done this, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to go here, but then I end up going somewhere else because I'm going, say, towards my house or something like that, because I'm on automation.
Yes.
And then I was like, what do I do? Why did I turn here?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you wake up because your mind is just so busy, isn't it? So
here's I like this explanation. It's fantastic, because the way that you think, it's an energy, it's a frequency. It's no different than a radio station or you making a phone call. It's energy, and it has no preference. So for example, you've got water doesn't have a preference. If you've got flowers in your garden and you've got weeds in your garden and you pour water on it, both of them are going to grow. One, some people think is a negative, that's a weed, and flowers they think is a positive. You put water on it, both of them will grow regardless. Our thoughts are the same. Energy has got no preference. So the more we're focusing on the past or the future in a negative aspect, we're watering that, we're growing that.
Okay.
As opposed to focusing on the things that we do want. And most people are focusing on things that they don't want as opposed to what they do want.
So in this book then, do you help people to understand how they can shift and stop thinking about those negative things?
Yes. So it breaks it down really, and I think there's a key to understanding first of all, and being open-minded enough to understand who we really are, what we're made up of, how we actually have got the capability with the power of our mind to be able to create the life that we want. So I think a big part of it is understanding who we are, why we're here, why we want to be here, and then being able to create that and manipulate your own thoughts. And different techniques will help you to do that. And I do go into not massive detail, but just the very simple steps to get people on the right track in this book.
Because I think there's this you're constantly battling. And I think you said it well when you said we're all conditioned.
Yes.
We're conditioned by
Programs.
but by our family, by our peers, by our school. Then we go into work. Like you say, you go to school, you get a job, you buy a house, you pay your mortgage, you pay your bills. And so you may recognize this and you may want to do something about it, and then this book is helping you to figure out, okay, what I need to do. But then how do you stop from slipping? I think that's, how do you stop from slipping back? Because it's years and years and years of being conditioned, right?
So it doesn't happen overnight. No. And this is what I say to people. This is about reprogramming. That's probably the simplest terms I could put it into, is that you have spent your entire life up until the age you are now with programming of how relationships should be, of how how your behavior should be in certain ways. And when you want to change them, that's programmed. And your brain, your body will go into defense when you try and change it, because it believes it's protecting you, because that's all it's ever known. So when you try and shift that, it's like, hold on a minute. No, you want to eat healthy? Don't be silly. We've been eating fast food for years. That's wrong. Don't do that. So you start having a battle with yourself. Yeah. But the reality is what you've then got to do is restart that programming. And there are ways that you can do it, whether it's meditation or EFT, or some people might do it with simple things like walking the dog, or anything that makes...
Just getting in tune with nature, right?
You've got to get in tune with nature, and you've got to shift your energy. So what I often say to people is, if you have a normal routine in the morning of getting up and checking your phone first thing and then going, oh gosh, I'm going to get through the day, and it's it's the same routine. Break that routine, because you're breaking up the programming over a period of time. So it might be get up in the morning, spin around in a circle. It could be just little things that start telling your body and your brain that you are changing that pattern.
Okay. And I believe that you also then offer coaching and workshops. So if you get through the book and you think, just like the questions I'm raising to you, okay, well, I can do a little bit of this, but what if I slip back?
Yes.
Well, that's where this is just kind of an introduction, right?
Yes.
To get you on the right path and get you thinking
differently.
The right way. Yeah.
And thinking, and that's the key thing. It's opening your mind up to something more and introducing a new idea into your mind that can start to alter the reprogramming to a certain degree. Because and you do sometimes need somebody to be accountable to, because it's no different than you don't get in a car and drive straight away. You literally have to learn. You don't lose weight. You don't lose 2 stone overnight. You have to create new thought processes and then create them into habits, which in turn will change to get you results. So this is about committing that change to yourself, that you're going to, even if it's only 10 minutes a day, to make that change.
Yeah, okay. You're listening to the Indie Author Show on Kellen FM. I'm fortnightly on Wednesdays from 12 to 1, and I have authors come in and talk about their book and their journey. I'm with Team Author UK, and we help people to self-publish their books, everything from design of their cover to formatting the book to editing and proofreading, illustrations if we need that. So yeah, it's a really fun job, and I get to meet lots of cool authors like you, Irene.
Oh, thank you.
Now this is one of our nonfiction books, so Time to Wake Up, Your Life is Calling. And Irene, we'll just kind of finish off this section then, just kind of saying, what is your advice to listeners who feel that they are stuck, that are kind of the things that you've been talking about are resonating with them?
Yeah.
So what do you say? I know that you say that the book is small. How many pages is it? It's not...
It is quite short. I think, I've had so many people read it and they've been able to read it in a day. It's only 120... Yeah. I think it's 100... hold on. 128. You could literally read it in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And that was intentional.
I know it was. Yeah. And so that's why I think what you intend from this is for it to be the start.
Yes.
Okay? Because you always... sometimes you don't always have that supportive partner or that supportive friend, or, whether it's family, friend, whatever, to kind of just listen to you. And I think by going through this book, it's almost like listening to your voice.
100%.
Yeah.
And you are listening to your voice.
Yeah.
That's a big part for me, is what I come to understand was that we are all universally connected. So everything happens for a reason. And I literally do say in this book, you know, you may feel like you're writing this book when the reality is, to a certain degree, you are. And on an energetic level, we are. I know that might sound quite far out, but one of the things I would say to people right now, in whatever situation they are, and there are a lot of people stuck, I've been there myself, so I speak from personal experience on many occasions. I think the first thing for anybody to do for themselves is say it's okay to not be okay. That is so important, because what happens when we get stuck is we start beating up on ourselves, and then it's a vicious circle. So first of all, it's accepting that it's okay to not be okay, and recognising that, so that you can step out of it and move forward. When people are stuck, they'll just keep going and beating themselves up, and they will not break from the cycle. One, it might be through fear, it might be through doubt. More often than not is fear. Which is the biggest shame, because as they always say, fear is false evidence appearing real. But the reality is acknowledging, first of all, that you're stuck is the best step to take. Acknowledging that it's totally okay to be stuck is the next best step to take. And then to realise that you can actually change that. Because I find that a lot of people, when they are not feeling okay, they don't come out and talk. We have come into the digital age, the industrial age has gone now. More and more things are coming online. People are communicating less physically together and interacting and sharing emotions and just the general things of life. And what I mean by that is goes back to the programming. So if you see the whole thing across TV or social media, we're always living in a comparison age now of where we should or we could, and that ultimately sometimes makes us feel quite inferior. And then we don't talk about it. So when we're not okay, then we feel really bad because it looks like everyone else is okay and we're not. And the reality of that is it's because we are not communicating in the same way that we used to.
Right.
So first of all, be okay with not being okay. It's totally okay. All being not okay is a way of, whatever you want to call it, your higher self or your inner self or, you know, your divine energy telling you that some changes need to be made, that you're not feeling really good about that right now, and there's a reason for that. And so it's not a bad thing. You know, when people say I'm really depressed and I'm really down, yes, that feels really bad, but look at it more of a negative, in a positive aspect of going, this is a way that my body or myself is telling me this isn't right for you, we need to make some changes.
Yeah.
What are they? So if I ever have a bad experience, a negative experience, I go, why is this rocking up? What can I do about it? What is it saying to me? What is it telling me? What is it trying to guide me into and guide me away from? Because often we'll stay in it and beat ourselves up about it and really just go, I should have done this, or I shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's a part of my book, is shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Because most of us live in that mind frame. So when you can acknowledge that it's okay to not be okay and then address it and go, why am I here? Do I want to be here? Is this how I want to feel? Actually, how would I rather be feeling? What do I want? Because when people get stuck in that rut, all the emphasis is on what they haven't got, what they don't want, and where they don't want to be. And acknowledging that is brilliant. Yay! And then going, right, what do I want? Where do I want to be? And this is where I'm now going to focus my energy on. And that's where the challenge comes in, because that's where you've got to take those steps.
I was just thinking of the last guest that we had on, Michaela Leyland, and from Wood for the Trees coaching.
Yes, she's amazing.
You've met her, yeah. And one of her favorite sayings is "sod the shoulds."
Yes.
You know, sod the shoulds.
Yes. Seriously. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
And once people get their head around that the universe or God, whatever label you want to give it, is constantly opening doors for you. It's opening the doors, but it can't push you through.
Yeah.
It can only open the doors and say, come over here, look, we've got this.
Yeah.
But if you stay going, no, I'm sat here worrying about what I should have done or could have done, or how it's not going right for me, and it's going, but here's a door, come on, walk through this one.
Yeah.
You see, it's about acknowledging where you're at and then making the changes to go forward.
Well, and what I think about your book that is so brilliant is that if you feel, okay, so you've acknowledged that things are not right.
Yes.
Okay, that's the first step, isn't it?
Yes.
And you've acknowledged that you want to get off this merry-go-round that you're on, and you're not quite sure what to do, and you don't really know who to talk to. But if you can read this book, it's the first step.
Yes.
Okay. It will. First of all, it will help you to understand that you're not alone in this, and that you're not,
100%.
there's loads of people going through this,
Most
right?
people.
Yeah. And so then it just kind of validates what you're feeling. And then it starts to shift you to start thinking away from that negative, stop giving that negative its energy, its water, as you said to it. And let's try to reframe how we're feeling and what we're thinking. Yeah?
Yes.
So that's why I think this book is perfect for those people who are at the start of this journey. Because it will, first of all, it will validate that what you're thinking and how you're feeling is okay.
Yes.
Then, as you get further into the book, even though it's only 128 pages, it will start to give you some tools and just some basic understanding of what you can do to go next.
Yes.
And then, at the end of that book is a little bit about Irene and her website and how you can get in touch with her and how she can then basically hold your hand. A lot of people say with me, what I do for authors is I hold their hand through the process. And I guess in a way I do, metaphorically, and I think that's what you're prepared to do for people.
Yes, that's what I do, because the reality is it's like we said before, some people might read the book and absolutely that will be enough for them, and that's fantastic for me because it's opened up a new paradigm of thinking for them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Paradigm, that's a good one, because we're stuck in a lot of paradigms, aren't we?
But sometimes that is the programming from the past is so entrenched that you do need your hand held. It's a bit like when people go to diet clubs or they go to the gym, they are the kind of handing to keep them on track.
Right.
And sometimes people really need that. So that's where I step in really to break it down and help people understand, because one of my biggest issues was I didn't know how I felt or what I wanted or where I wanted. So where I wanted to go, some people say, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to feel anymore, because your thoughts create your feelings, and you've got this bit like which came first, the chicken or the egg, the feelings or the thoughts.
Right.
So once you think something, it releases chemicals into your body that then creates those feelings. So often people go, well, I feel this way because of. Well, they're actually feeling that way because of the thoughts that they're putting into them. So the hardest challenge for most people is how to change those thoughts, how to create new programming, and how to really get a grip on that and change it as quickly as possible. And it can take time, and it's relatively easy. If you imagine you're running on automation, your subconscious is, you can go, yes, I'm really positive today, and then 2 hours later, you're back on the floor again, and you're wondering why, because I was positive this morning. You just defaulted onto your old programming. So it's becoming aware of that and being able to go, that's not who I am or where I want to go. I've just fallen back into an old program.
Right.
How are we going to change this?
So, okay, so you've got, people can contact you through your website,
Yes.
which is
www.ireneremelie.com. So it's basically my name, ireneremelie.com. My book is on Amazon, so you can go on there and buy it on Kindle, or you can buy it paperback, where it's on Kindle Unlimited as well.
Yeah.
And they can find me on Facebook. If you just type in my name, I'm pretty much everywhere now. And I'm yellow.
yeah, yellow and
Yellow.
Singing.
Yes, I sing quite a
Sing
lot.
while you do your dishes.
Yes.
Oh.
Which is
amazing.
that's another technique, you see, because we do a lot. So most people, when they're washing up, will be worrying about what they're going to do. So techniques I use to distract my mind from going down any routes are things like singing. Don't have to be the best singer in the world, doesn't really matter. It could be listening to your favourite music, but it's about, as I said, shifting your energy and breaking up that pattern.
And doing something different to what you would normally do.
100%. So for me, when I am washing up, I sing and I dance, and I've done the washing up and I don't even know I've done it, because my focus has been on something different other than I've got so much to do. I've got to wash these, and then I've got to hang out the washing, and then I've got to mop the floor, or, it's about changing it. Those things are going to happen anyway. I've got to enjoy them. Otherwise, what's the point in being alive?
Yeah, okay. So they can go to your website. You're looking at getting some online courses,
Yes.
aren't you? But in the meantime, people can come to you for coaching help, or
They can, yes.
handheld.
Yes.
Hand holding. It's hard to say. Hand holding.
Hand holding.
And we don't have to wear yellow just to work with you, do we?
Not at all. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. For me, it's all about connecting. So when I work with someone on a one-to-one basis, I will energetically connect with them. and we'll dig and delve deep to find out what their blocks and barriers are that are preventing them from moving forward and having the success that they want. And success is different to everybody. For some people it's financial gains, it's relationships, it could be health. Whatever is important to people is their success. So for me, it's really about getting in, understanding why they've got their barriers and how we can overcome them, and putting something into place that suits them. Because not everybody likes meditating, not everybody likes EFT, or, it's about finding what suits the individual as to what will work with them, because it's got to be what they believe in.
Well, my daughter, she was just home on the weekend. She's in university, her second year university, and she was just telling me about what she does in her day, because she has quite a few 9 o'clock in the morning lectures this year, which she wasn't too pleased about, because she has to work about 20 or walk about 25 minutes to get there. So it means getting up quite early. And then she was talking about what she does and how she does some meditation. I said, meditation? What do you mean you do meditation?
Brilliant.
And then she said, well, haven't you heard of the Headspace app, Mum? And I was like, well, actually I have, but I didn't know that you were doing that. But here she is taking control to make sure that she's not letting these 9 a.m., I think 4 days a week or 3 days a week anyway, she has to be at uni at 9 a.m. She's not letting that get her down. She's just finding tools to
deal with it and cope, better strategies to make it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
My little girl, Remelie, she's 10, and very lucky that her teacher is very big into meditation, so they do that in the class.
Do they?
And for me, that's fantastic. Most of your programming actually comes from the age of 0 to 7. That's when your brain's working in Veda, so like in sleep processor, you're a sponge absorbing everything. So really, the sooner that you can start programming your mind in a more positive aspect, the easier it is to enjoy life. That doesn't mean at our age, I'm 41, you can't do it. Of course you can, but you've just got a little bit more of a battle on your hand, because it's more deep-seated and entrenched. If you're younger and you're open to those sort of things, then you'll deal with things in life so much better moving forward. So
yeah, I was really proud of her for
that's brilliant.
that.
Well done to her.
Yeah, Maddie will give you
Well
a
done,
little
Maddie.
shout-out. So, Irene, just tell us a little bit about, I said to you off air that I was a bit nervous because you have been a radio presenter for how many years in Chester?
I worked in the industry for 19 years.
19 years,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So here I am. You're on the other side of the
Brilliant.
the
I
desk
love
here
it.
in the studio, and it's like, woo. But yeah, no, you're very, very easy to interview, so thank you for that. So where's life taking you now? What are you doing?
Oh,
You've been through so much.
Yeah, but brilliant things. I'm really excited because I've got a lot going on right now. So I am and will be in the process of writing another book. I'm getting some workshops together, some online courses. I'm being asked to do lots of talks in places. And I'm really opening it up, which I talk a lot about in my book, to the universe to point me in the right direction and take the next steps. So I guess when you say, where am I now? I am really enjoying life in the negatives and the positives. And that, for me, is the best success I could ever wish for. Mm-hmm. Because over the years, through applying the techniques and the knowledge that I've gained, I've done all sorts of great things, like win a car on The Price is Right, and, get my own TV show and have an international business, which has been very successful. So I've had the ultimate highs, but I've also had the ultimate lows as well. As we all do, that's part of life. So for me, my success right now is enjoying the ultimate lows as well as the highs, and acknowledging that they're totally okay. So for me, it's a whole new level. It's a whole new playing field of understanding that and actually embracing them. So I had pneumonia not so long ago, and I could have seen that as a real big negative. And it has been challenging. But again, I embraced it and went, this is okay. This is happening. There's a reason for it. What's it all about? And it's the way I perceive things now. So it just means that life on every level is enjoyable, even when it's not, if that makes sense.
Well, you find something good about that, right?
Yes.
So, you probably got more rest and could spend more time with your children. And did you do more reading?
I did more reading. I do a lot of listening to audio. So first thing in the morning, bang, I'm out of bed and I will listen to a morning affirmation, or I'll do some meditation, and I listen that in the evening. I listen any given opportunity. So it will always be towards a positive of understanding really who we are and everything. So I did a lot of that. I also started another online business purely because the digital age is the way it is, and it was something that I wanted to venture into. So I guess the biggest gift for me right now is that I'm opening my eyes up to so many different opportunities, understanding the online world more, and being able to just embrace life and spend time with the children, time with the family, learning new techniques, helping more and more people each day, and recognizing sometimes when the negatives rock up, which they do, they've got to. This is a big thing I just want to say to everybody, actually. You know, we are about contrast in this world. So when we have something that perceives or seemingly looks really bad, instead of seeing it as something that's really bad, just see it as a contrast. It's rocked up to show you that's not what you want, or it's going to lead you in a different direction. So for me, the past year has been about appreciating the journey, of understanding when the lows have come, they've come for a reason, and what can I do about them? How can I embrace them? How can I enjoy them? And how can I change them? So that's kind of been my ultimate success.
And just being aware, right?
Being aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, there's coming to the end of 2018. So I think 2019 is going to be where we start to see you kind of really blossom. I know that I just feel that 2018 has been a bit of a journey for you, and just
Most
kind
definitely.
of looking at things have happened, and you're just looking at, well, should I do this? Should I do that? But one thing that's always been in the middle has been this book, and the foundations that you believe in are in this book, and everything, whatever comes, say the book's in the middle, like this, the spokes of the wheel are coming out of that book.
Yes.
Because you're being true to yourself. You're being true to what you've put down in writing. People can buy this book. You believe in this, and you will be there, kind of being our beacon.
Yes.
Really, and showing us, just even on your Facebook lives or whatever, you're showing us that this is
a
your
real
life.
person.
And you know, gosh, maybe your car quit on the side of the road,
Totally
which it
did.
has, and,
Yeah.
and you know, but well, that's life.
That's
you,
okay.
You were at a big event, and your books courier didn't come in time with your books, but you know,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's always okay. And that my ambition is in life is to help people. That's my main passion. I want to help people discover who they are and learn how amazing and wonderful and incredible they are and what they're capable of. And for that reason, that's why I do my book and my coaching, and then also the same with my online business. I do that to help people that are maybe stuck in the rat race, that are looking for a change. So it's all about helping each other, because as far as I'm concerned, we're all connected.
Yeah.
So we don't give to receive, but when you do give to others, do you receive back massively.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Do you wear yellow every day?
No, not always.
Okay.
I do wear it quite a bit, because sometimes when I don't wear it, people are like, why are you not wearing yellow?
I know.
And I'm like, there's only so many yellow dresses I can buy. But I don't always wear it, but I have got quite a bit of yellow around the house. So.
I walk into a shop and I'll see a whole bunch of yellow, and I immediately think of you. So so whatever you've done to build your brand, it's definitely worked. Okay, so I'm just trying to think. Well, the website is ireneremelie.com.
That's correct, yeah.
And as we said, we can find you on
Facebook. Yes.
Are you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter, but somehow my Twitter account is attached to my Facebook account. So when I post on Facebook, it automatically goes onto Twitter.
Okay.
So I know everything about Facebook. I'm really savvy with that, but Twitter's...
Do you do Instagram?
I did, but again, it was a decision. I've just kind of chilled out a bit with that.
Yeah. Okay. So
you'll find me on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, we'll find you
You'll
on Facebook.
find me everywhere.
And then we'll know what you're doing and what other social media and what other little things you're getting up to.
Yeah.
Big things, little things you're getting up to just by following you there. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll have you back in 2019 and just to you know, kind of just see where you've gone, where this journey is taking you, and we'll just go through some of, because I think listening to you, I know everyone, every time I've been in a room when you've been speaking, everyone's just totally engaged in what you're saying, and you even told me, somebody said to you that you was just kind of on the fringe, just really enjoyed what you were talking about. So So I think what we need to do is we need to get you out there. We need to get your book out there. We need to start changing the world one person at a time, just making a
Definitely.
difference in people's lives.
Yes.
You can listen to this show. Obviously, we're live on Wednesday from 12 to 1, but you can actually listen again on Callan FM. So if you go to callanfm.com, you can listen again for the 2 weeks up until my next live show. Because as I said, I'm only fortnightly. But then it will also go as SoundCloud. It will go on to
Fantastic.
my YouTube channel, and then I will share it with you, and you can share it with people who want to, just hear your voice and just hear a little bit more about what you're doing. So is there anything else that you want to share with us or talk about?
Make each day count. Make each day count. You are precious. You are amazing. You have this one life that you are here to live. And do yourself the biggest favour and take a step back and decide if you are where you want to be or you want to make changes. Now is the time. Because although I don't believe we die and that's it, we do have this precious life and it is very short. And so if there is something you want to do, something you want to change, really sit back and put plans into place to do that, because you can do, have and be and achieve whatever you want from life. But it is just a matter of taking stock and making the decision to do it now and not letting your life take you over and live on automation.
Okay.
Wake up. It's waking up.
And don't be scared, because
No.
read this book. It will help you just to kind of get in the right frame of mind, and then there's somebody with this, Irene, or it's a friend, or there's somebody out there that will help
Definitely.
you. And the other thing I was going to say, a lot of the times there's other people feeling exactly the same as you. So, be the first one to open up about it.
And that's the biggest thing for me. I've had the biggest highs in my life and really great success. I've also had the biggest lows, and I've always been open to talking about them. And I always do. I do a lot of live videos. I will tell people if I've been crying, or all these things are not to be judged in a negative way. They're all things to embrace, but it takes a while for you to get your head around that. And once you do, now, I often say to people, read my book. It might not be for you. Brilliant. I don't try and get people to believe what I say. I don't want anyone to. That's just my truth, and I want people to find their truth. And if I can open their mind just a little bit, enough to find out their own truth and what they want and who they are and what their beliefs are that affect them in a positive way, then my job is done.
Okay. Well, we're going to close with a track, which is kind of an oxymoron because it's called Stuck.
Well, it's a good thing, because just remember, you don't want to be stuck forever. And if you are stuck, this is your sign to say it's time to come unstuck.
Okay. Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you for today and for just coming in and into the studio and just chatting. And I really look forward to sharing this show with loads of people. I'm sure you'll share it on your
Most
Facebook
definitely.
as well. And we'll just, like I said, we'll just keep trying to make a difference in people's lives, just one person at a time. So thank you very much, and thank you for
having me.
you for using Team Author as well to help you
Yay!
to self-publish this
Well,
book.
it wouldn't have happened without you, Sue.
And next time, in the near future, I'm sure you will be a worldwide bestseller. Right now, you are an Amazon bestseller.
Yes.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Well, let's get you to worldwide. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I'll be back in a fortnight. But don't forget, you can listen again to the Indie Author Show on Callan FM.